Hey, Sir Fix-a-Lot here. We're going to show you how to change front brakes, pads, as well as the rotor in a 2009 Honda Civic GX. The Honda Civic GX is equipped with Nisin Brakes. These are a little bit different than your standard brakes that you usually have on a LX or a DX. The tools that you're going to need are just a ratchet with a 14mm socket, 19mm wrench, 17mm open, an impact screwdriver here to remove the rotor. Rotor has a couple of screws on them that you want to remove using this tool, and then the hammer to hit it with. It's like an impact driver. Parts we're going to use to replace, these are courtesy of our friends on eBay, R1 Concepts. We have their premium brake rotor, which is just a fantastic product. Look at this, brand new and finely machined. It also has protection both on this surface as well as the edge against rust. You're going to need a brake cleaner in order to clean the Cosmoline off before you install it. And then the brake pads that we're going to use are these the Posi Quiets, also from R1 Concepts. Great brake pads. They're low dust. The dust color is actually on kind of more the yellowish side, so actually doesn't show up on your rims too much. And they clean off very, very easily. So as opposed to a lot of the factory brakes which produce a black dust. Comes with the backing plates for anti-squeal, and this is the squealer. Basically, if you wear down the brakes beyond 1/8 of an inch, this is going to rub against the rotor and it's going to start to squeal, indicating that you got low brake pads. They also give you a set of anti-squeal shims, which I'll show you how to put on the caliper housings, the caliper body when we do the assembly. This is looking at the brake caliper from above. You're first going to have to remove two of these. These are the 14mm bolts, and they're actually secured on the inboard side. Well, I guess this is more the outboard side, but on the other side of the housing here by a 19mm like nut. And then you have to also remove the caliper housing in order to get to the rotor itself by taking one. This is just one of two bolts that are 17mm that you have to remove. So in order to remove this part of the caliper that houses the brake pads, you're going to have to use a scissor action here. I've got 19mm on the inboard nut, and then or on the outboard nut, let's say, and then for the bolt I've got a 14mm ratchet, and basically you're going to do a squeezing action here. You're going to pull this way, and then the open box end is going to go this way. So here goes. Once you have it loose, you can just remove this bolt, and you do the same for the lower one. Once the lower bolt comes off, which is only this long, the whole caliper body will just come right off. And you've got your line attached, so you want to just support it up top here, maybe wire it up so that it's sitting at the base of your strut. Once you have the caliper body off, the brake pads, they just slide out like this. You can see that this brake pad is pretty well worn. It's down to about 1/4 of an inch. The reason why I'm changing these out, well, number one, it's because they're down to 1/4 inch, but really the reason why is the rotors are warped, and you feel a pulsing motion on, when you apply the brakes. So we've got to change out these rotors. So you take out this side, and then as well as the other side. And then the bracket here needs to come off, and that's when you're going to use your 17 millimeter. One up top here and one down here at the bottom, and this whole bracket will come right off. Then you can remove the okay, when you removed it, these are the 19s that are back there. The whole unit just slides right off, and you'll see the anti-squeal shims that are on here. These, you just have to remove these and replace them with the new ones that come with the brake pads. So just remember their kind of position and location, and there's one on the bottom and there's one on the top. Alright, next we're going to remove the rotor, and there's 2 screws, and so we use an impact screwdriver on this. That's one loosened, and then the next one. So these come out pretty easily after you use the impact screwdriver. They're relatively small. And then the rotor will come off. Now sometimes it's gonna be rusted on here. So since we're gonna destroy this or throw this away, we can actually just tap it from behind. And off it comes. Okay, when cleaning up the rotors with the brake clean, you just spray on liberal amounts, use a clean cloth, and just wipe the surface down like this. Flip it over, do the same thing. So you just want to get that cosmoline off as best you can, and then try not to handle it on this surface here. Try to kind of handle it either touching the center area, but try not to get grease or anything like that on this surface while installing. Okay, once we have this caliper housing in, you can see that I've got the new anti-squeal shims installed. Make sure you don't touch the surface of the brake rotor. Then you've got the brake pads here, the brand new ones. You can see how much thicker they are than the other ones. The brake pad that has the squeal sensor, that's on the inner, and that squeal sensor basically faces upwards. Okay. On this side, I'm showing you how to install the outer one. So you just kind of put it in the bottom one first. It is spring loaded, so you may get a benefit out of using just kind of a tiny small flathead screwdriver when you're installing it in here, and you just kind of push it around, and it just slides right in, and your brake pads are in that way. You do the other side, and then we'll put the caliper on. Okay, the last thing we want to do before we put the caliper piston on, is to utilize a C-clamp like this, because you have to move that piston back in order to clamp over the new brake pads, because they're a lot thicker. So you want to move it so that it's about flush with the rubber kind of sleeve, and so we just kind of put it on the back here and then just tighten it up. I don't know if you can kind of see it moving, but I'm going to bring it back until it's about flush with the sleeve. You can see it right about there. about flush with the sleeve. And then you should be able to assemble. Well, actually, we got to bring it back a little further. It's not quite far enough, so looks like you have to have it flush with the, basically with the body here. So I'm going to bring it all the way back so it's flush with the housing. Then you should be able to put it right over the top, moving both of these back like that, and you can see that sandwich in. I'll point this down a little bit, and then it's just a matter of putting the bolts back in place like this, and you do the bottom ones also. And again, utilize that scissor action, because all it has to do is tighten here, and this one comes back. So you're doing this action to it, and you just squeeze it maybe with both hands or one hand, depending how strong you are. Get it to about maybe 30 to 35 foot-pounds. That should be good enough, and you should be good to go. After this, after you assemble this and then put the wheels back on, you're going to want to bed the brakes, and to do that you're going to want to make a series of from 60 miles an hour down to 0, about 4 to 5 stops like that, and then just run the car, let's say on the freeway or something, let the brakes cool down, and then the brakes should be fully bedded. And that's all there is to it for a front brake and rotor job on a Honda Civic. Hey, one last thing while we're here. The two 17mm bolts that bolt on the housing back here and down here, set those at about 65 to 75 foot-pounds of torque, and then you should be good to go. These ones up here, again, 25 to 35, somewhere in that range. It's just really a squeeze. You just need to get them so that it doesn't rotate out or anything like that. So that's about it.